In this video, I want to take you behind the scenes of my current live setup. It's a hybrid modular system that I've played in clubs, forests, galleries, and even underwater in Goa. But don't expect cable chaos or generative wizardry. I like to keep things simple, because for me, modular is about performability and emotional clarity, not necessarily about complex patches. So I'll show you how I patch for performance, how I keep my voices tight and playable, and share some hands-on tips if you're building a live modular setup of your own. My modular case includes modules like the Piston Honda MK3, the Dixie 2 Plus, the N-Rings, an Optomix, a Rampage, Mimeophone, the Morphogene FX8 XL, also a Desmodus Versio, Locale Catetas, multiple modules. But still, I bring my Octatrack as a sequencer and as a MIDI brain, plus the analog rhythm for rhythms. Everything connects through the Mutant Brain, which converts MIDI from the Octatrack to CV and gates. A quick tip: if you're starting with MIDI-to-CV, map your voices intentionally. The Mutant Brain gives you 4 CVs and 12 gates. I assign CV only to the voices I want to tune precisely and keep gates free for rhythms, envelopes, and triggers. I usually patch 4 voices. 2 kind of lead sounds out of the Piston Honda, the bass through the Dixie, and at the moment for techno live sets I like to use the N-Rings for some organic sounds. So let's look at them one by one. The first voice of the Piston Honda has white cables. It goes through the Rampage envelope, the quad VCA, to the SEM-Döpfer filter, then to the FX8XL before I route it into my blue box. The second voice of the Piston Honda, it's red cables. It goes from the Mutant Brain to the Piston Honda and the Rampage again and the quad VCA. After that, I route it into the multi-filter and then into the Desmodus Versio, which is an FX, before I send it to the blue box. The bass from the Dixie is color-coded in green, so it goes from the Dixie into the Javelin, which is an envelope and VCA combined, then into the carbon filter, and then directly into the blue box mixer, where I also put effects on it. The fourth voice is the N-Rings, it's blue. And the N-Rings is super easy to patch because it doesn't need a VCA or an envelope. So I just send the pitch CV and the gate from the Mutant Brain into the N-Rings, and then I route it directly into the blue box, also for effects. When I play ambient live sets, my go-to is the Morphogene. So I love to use it then for textures and more experimental sounds. So when I use the Morphogene, I send it a gate and sometimes also a pitch. And then I love to route it into the Mimeophone before sending it to the blue box. I patch my system in a repeatable way. That's not lazy, that's intentional. I don't want to debug cables on stage, I want to perform. Modulation comes mostly from Mod Medusa and Voltage Block. Mod Medusa is perfect, random but rhythmically musical. Voltage Block is great for dialed modulation and sometimes even pitch. One smart modulation source is sometimes more expressive than 12 things doing random stuff. In techno live sets, I sequence everything from the Octatrack. It sends the MIDI into the Mutant Brain, which distributes then the CV and gates. I also use the Mutant Brain to get clock ticks in different divisions for syncing FX, like the Mimeophone, or also my LFOs, the Voltage Block and the Mod Medusa. I treat my live set more like a DJ set and not in a linear way. I think in tracks. I usually start with something minimal, like a melody or some filtered beat. Then I like to add hi-hats, and when the kick then hits, it all kind of shifts rhythmically. I like to mix different genres in one set. Techno, breaky things, ghetto tech. Like, what's important for me is dynamic flow. More energy isn't always better. Sometimes it just needs time to breathe. So a quick tip, build down before you build up. Remove FX, just let the kick in, because this contrast hits harder than adding another hi-hat. Occasionally, I also use an eloquencer or a Keystep Pro in ambient sets. But for club shows, Octatrack is definitely queen. So, one quick tip. If your clock feels off, check your MIDI-to-CV gate length. If it's too short, sometimes envelopes won't trigger. So adjusting the gate length in your brain module can fix a lot of problems. That's my current modular live setup, built for performance, not perfection. If you're building your own system, I hope this gives you ideas. And if you already perform live, I'd love to hear how you use your case and make it playable in live situations. Drop it in the comments, and if this video was helpful, consider subscribing to my channel.